Warmachine more, battle with more, Cygnar.
Hello, got another bat rep. I'm here with Thies.
Hello.
Hi, and we played Cygnar against Khador, as you might expect. This time I brought Nemo 3 because I felt like he wasn't getting enough time on the table. I played Striker 2, I think, the last 5 games I played or something crazy like that. So yeah, I got Nemo 3 with me this time. And the list is... So it's in theme, which means I effectively get a free squire and everyone else is immune to electrical damage. So it's Nemo 3 with Finch and a squire. Quite a big battle group. It's the Dynamo and 2 Stormclads, along with the Firefly and the Lancer. I didn't bother taking the Genuine Warcaster this time, but I wanted to see if Nemo's armor spell was good enough on its own. And then we got Lattimore and a full unit of Storm Lancers, of course, because I'm Cygnar and everyone takes Storm Lancers. Yeah, so what have you got on your list?
Yeah, I had Butcher 1, together with his old trusty Ruin, then a Devastator and a Destroyer, and the Wardog attachment. Then I had Malakoff to support him with a Juggernaut, and as far as units, I had a full unit of Iron Fangs with the command attachment, and a Iron Fang Kovnik, and a unit of Doom Reavers together with the Greylord attachment.
So since we played last time, which was a little while ago, you changed your list a little bit. I think you played Butcher last time we played, and then you got a few more Jacks this time.
I have one more. One more
okay.
Jack this time, yeah, and no Winter Guards.
So do you feel like Winter Guard not worth it?
I don't know. I think Butcher does more to support the. He can better support the Iron Fangs than the Winter Guard, and basically I just wanted to try out a more Jack heavy list because usually I have lots of infantry, and yeah, less models to manage.
Yeah,
sounded good to me.
Yeah, that was my thinking as well with my list. So Nemo 3 is he likes Jacks, he can run a lot of them, and he also likes electric shooting. So I figured that I would just bring stuff with electric shooting. The Lancer doesn't have electric shooting personally, but he does have, he has an arc node, so he can channel the spell, the Nemo, what's it called? Can't remember the name of it, some sort of storm spell. So effectively everyone can do some electric shooting. And then I like Stormclads, they're pretty powerful. I like Dynamo. So yeah, so the idea was a list that can do everything pretty well. So we played Recon, which is number 8 scenario, and set up the table like this. And you won the roll-off?
Yes, and I wanted to decide the sides, so you get a start. And I choose the side with the hill, because as you mentioned before we started the game that you have nothing in your list with Pathfinder, so I thought it would be a good idea to leave you with the forest on your side. Yeah,
I think I would have chosen the side you chose as well. But there was a lot to say for going first too, because I knew that my shooting would give you a problem on your second turn, or rather my second turn. So yeah, it would have been a tough decision what to do if I'd won, but luckily you won and you were able to decide for me.
What I wanted was to have no obstructions in my way, so nothing which would slow down my troops, so no rough terrain.
Yeah. I mean, if you'd let me have that side, then I would have had a hill and a trench to deal with. The only problem was that wall in the middle for charging across, but actually that would have protected me probably.
Yeah, true.
So I think you totally did the right thing there. So I set up first, and I thought I'd basically skew over to the right to stop the forest affecting me too much. So against Khador on this scenario with Nemo, I'm not sure that scenario is really going to be much of a thing. As long as I stop you from scoring, then that's about as much I can do. So it's going to be an attrition game. So I really wanted to set up for a good second turn, feet turn, possibly. So I've got my Storm Lancers all the way over to the right, so they're just going to be running up to try and flank a little bit. And then all my heavies are all lined up, ready to walk between the trench and the forest there. And I've got Nemo and Finch ready to walk up and just sit in the trench for a bit of protection. Makes them very difficult to hit sitting in the trench. And I also knew that you had some blast damage, so again the trench is a nice option. So your setup looks like this.
Yeah, my plan was to have the Iron Fangs sheeted my entire battle group, so I set them up at the front with the with Butcher in the middle because I plan to have him cast Iron Flash on the Iron Fangs on the first turn. So yeah, as I said, the idea was Iron Fangs move forward, then they end up in Shield Wall due to their mini feat. Together with Iron Flash, I was hoping that they were pretty safe from all the nasty shooting Steve was planning to do. And then the Jax would have been, so to say, the second wave of attack after the Iron Fangs. Yeah, and the Doom Reavers, I wasn't sure if I should place them on the side with the Storm Lances or on the side with the Hill. And in the end, I decided to do them on the side with the Hill because I thought that Storm Lances would probably have no problem with clearing these guys up. And yeah, my plan for the Doom Reavers was to have them move around, kind of in an arc movement, and then flank Steve on his Jax side.
Okay, so like I said, I got first turn. So my first turn looks like this. And as I said, just moved up the Storm Lancers because you had your Doom Reavers on the opposite side, and I have no problem moving the Storm Lancers up quite a long way, just ready to charge on the next turn. Lattimore's sitting in the bunker. I don't know if she necessarily, not in the bunker, in the trench. I don't know if she necessarily needed to do that, but it's just a little bit of extra shooting protection. And I needed to, for her to charge first on the next turn to give the bonuses to the Storm Lancers. And like I said, I just squeezed up all the Jacks up between the forest and the trench. And Nemo went up and cast some upkeeps. I think I cast the magnetic field, cast the armor spell on the Storm Lancers because I think they could use it best on this next turn. And the electrical shroud, can't remember what it's called, the one that gives you an extra strength and an electro leaps on your melee weapon. Just put that up on Dynamo. I actually don't know if that was even worth doing, but it was better than doing nothing. So yeah, he got that. So that was it, just waiting for Thies' army to move up and get ready to charge them on the next turn.
Yeah, I moved my guys up as planned, so the Iron Fangs, they form up a kind of a defensive line with their mini feats. They could move like 11 inches and then end up with Cheat Ball. Butcher casts Iron Flash on them, so they end up with armor 20 and they are immune to blast damage, but I think that didn't matter in any way. Yeah, the Jax just the Jax just moved up. Nothing special there, and Malakoff casts Red Line on the Juggernaut after the Jax activation, so he doesn't get D3 damage on the first turn. And yeah, Butcher also casts Vengeful on Ruin, so that Ruin gets Retaliation Strike, but it didn't play any role anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Doom Reavers, they were quite difficult to move on that turn because I couldn't decide what to do with them. I put some of them in the forest to protect them from any shooting or getting charged, and some of them in the space between the hill and the forest. And I didn't know where Steve was planning to move his Jax, but I wanted to be able to charge them from the side. So so much for my second turn. First turn, right?
Yeah, so I could see that you were lined up pretty much for me to charge the Iron Fangs. I think you expected that.
Of course. I was hoping that armor 20 would at least some of them keep them alive.
Yeah, but the way things are set up here, so I could see that I could easily charge them with my Storm Lancers, do lots of damage. So the question was what would happen to the Storm Lancers after they charged, and at that point I decided that they'd just die because you've got so many Jacks following up. Ruin is so dangerous with his reach and his crazy free charges and things, so that I felt like I'd just pay for the the Iron Fangs with my Storm Lancers. So that's what I did. So I moved up the Firefly first. To get a little bit of extra damage on the Electro Leaps because I felt like that was... Oh, that's right. So I decided not to feat on this turn because I felt like the Lancers could handle the Iron Fangs without the extra damage.
You wanted to save the feed for my jacks.
Exactly, yeah. So my jacks wouldn't be doing an awful lot on this turn, but on the following turn, then that would be the time to pop the feet. So yeah, so the Storm Lancers just charged in. They took out, so Lattimore went in first, the Firefly ran in just to get the bonuses that those two provide, and then all the Lancers charged in. A couple of them went a long way over to the left, and knowing that they wouldn't actually get to their targets, but they'd still be able to shoot them, so they took out one Doom Reaver, or it was a tough check or something on one of the Doom Reavers. So
one Doom Reaver is knocked down.
Yeah,
right.
And the Ulans melted away not Ulans. Iron Fangs. They melted away. And one thing I forgot to do was reposition Lattimore after her charge attack, which would have been probably life-saving for her on the next turn.
Probably.
As it is, she's now sitting there waiting to be countercharged. And then all the jacks just moved up. They did a little bit of shooting just prior to the charge, just to try and take out a couple of models here and there. And really just wanted to get into the zone and make sure that I would be able to charge your guys after they killed off all the Storm Lancers.
I mean, in the end, you killed pretty much, I think 2 or 3 Iron Fangs were left alive after your turn, but in the end, you had a lot of attacks, and a lot of attacks didn't actually kill the Iron Fangs because of the armor 20, so...
Yeah, so the electric leaps didn't really do much.
You had to really use all the attacks you have on your Storm Lancers and some of your jacks to kill them.
Sitting in the trench made a big difference as well with some of them, because all of my shooting was a lot worse. Didn't hit.
And some of them were also sitting in the cloud from the objective.
That's right, yeah. So it's basically achieved what I was expecting on that turn. There wasn't anything spectacular, but it forced Thies to make some decisions for your turn.
It did.
So your turn looks like this.
Yeah, so I have a hard time remembering the order of my activation, but I think what happened is Ruin definitely moved up the field. I think he charged the Firefly and then crushed the Firefly and the Lattimore as well.
That's right, yeah.
Soaked up her soul. The Juggernaut, I spent way too much focus on the Juggernaut. He only ended up killing one Storm Lancers, which he could have done easily without any focus at all. But on the other hand, Malakhov has nothing to do with his focus anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Redline is still, I love it, it's a great spell.
Redline is awesome. Especially in this game, I took very little damage from Redline. I think 3 damage in total, so really good. The Devastator moved up and decided not to explode, so he just punched one of the Storm Lancers to death. Oh, he punched both. I think he punched.
Yeah,
he killed both. Yeah.
He didn't use his special attack, but he did use his initials.
Yeah, and killed both of them. Destroyer
just left that one on the side.
Yeah, right. Destroyer took a shot, and I think he damaged one of your jacks a little bit.
Yep. Stormpad took a bit of damage.
The Doom Reavers basically move further up to the forest, so in the back arc of your Stormclad, is it right?
Yeah. So they're creeping around commando style.
Well, my plan was to make you have to worry about them.
I did.
They couldn't really charge from their position, but they could make you worry.
Very nasty against Nemo, and then if I moved Nemo out of the way, then you'd still probably charge the Stormclad that's sitting there.
Yeah, something like that. And the last thing I did, I moved the War Dog into the charge lane of your Stormland, so he cannot so easily charge Butcher next turn. But actually, this wasn't very smart of me, because I moved him more than 3 inches away from Butcher.
Oh yeah.
So Butcher lost all his bonuses he would have gotten from the dog.
Yeah. Yeah. So I took a bit of damage, lost the horses that I was expecting to lose. So what the board looks like at the moment is that I can take out probably a couple of heavies. At least that was my plan. Maybe 3. Certainly do my feet on this turn. And do lots of assaults, lots of shooting, and basically just try and keep everyone away from Nemo. As I said, the scenario is pretty dead at the moment on this game.
I think Nemo spent the whole game inside the trench.
Yeah, basically just sat there, hiding inside the crater.
Nice and cozy.
Yeah, and so that's what I did. I feated, and then I shot down Ruin. I took a bit more effort.
I think you charged Ruin.
Yeah, after I'd shot him. So Dynamo has killed Ruin before on feat turn, but this turn I rolled a quadruple 1 for damage on one of my damage rolls. So I think it was like dice -6 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
We worked out the chances against that at something like 1200 to 1.
It's kind of improbable.
Yeah, it was quite frustrating. So Ruin was left with quite a few boxes left, which forced Stormclad to come in and try and finish him off.
Right.
That didn't work out either.
No, he was left with 1 damage box.
Yeah, so the Lancer went in and just poked him quickly with a spear and just made sure he was off the table.
Right.
The other Stormclad tried to do some damage to the Juggernaut, and I think he rolled pretty badly on damage as well. So usually a Stormclad, if he rolls reasonably well, he can do quite a lot of damage to a Juggernaut. All I did was take out the Cortex though.
And the movement.
Oh, and the movement.
Movement and the Cortex, but you left both weapons alive. So.
Yeah. And then Nemo took a pot shot at the Doom Reavers that were creeping around and managed to knock down one and take out the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So that was quite nice. The Stormlance, who was left up on the right hand side, took a charge towards Butcher and did 9 damage, which was excellent. I was very happy with that. In fact, that was probably the best part of that turn, because I was able to charge just past the dog and still managed to be within charge range and not get free strikes from the dog.
True.
So,
and you also engaged the dog, so the dog didn't get his counter charge as well.
Yes, exactly, yeah. So counter charge is great as long as you're not the one getting charged or you're not in the lead.
True.
So it was a pretty disappointing feat turn. I was expecting, like I said, to at least have 2 heavies off the table. Just didn't work out that way, unfortunately. But I still felt like I was in okay position. And what you've got left on the table, I felt like probably wasn't enough to completely wipe me out. So moving on to your third turn?
It was
third turn. Yeah, third turn.
And it was my feat turn.
Yeah, so what we've got on the screen here at the moment is the situation, so you better explain it.
Yeah, the thing was, I thought I was kind of out of options really. I mean, Steve did a good job to clear away all my soldiers, all the Iron Fangs and Ruin, and the Juggernaut was badly damaged. But then I developed a plan to have Butcher charge in the 2 Jacks. I think it was the Lancer and a Stormclad.
Yeah.
And by doing that, he would free the Devastator, and then the Devastator would be able to charge the Dynamo.
Yeah.
And maybe threaten even Nemo.
Yes.
The plan was to use the Rain of Death attack from the Devastator and then boost the blast damage on Nemo.
Yeah.
But the problem was, as Steve then mentioned to me, that Nemo was safe from blast damage because he was inside the trench.
Yes.
Quite frustrating.
Lovely trenches.
But I did it anyway, so I moved the dog up to the Stormlands so that Butcher wouldn't have to worry about the free strike. Mm-hmm. Then I made a grievous mistake and let the dog attack the Stormlands, but the spell you had still on the Stormlands pushed the dog 1 inch away.
Electrify.
Yeah, and that means it was very hard to find the correct angle for Butcher to charge the Jack without getting a free strike.
So Butcher needs to be within 3 inches to get parry.
To get parry from the dog, yes.
But the 3 inches is measured when he leaves the melee range of the person he's trying to use parry to avoid getting a free strike from.
Right. But it was barely possible to do
worked
that.
out fine, in fact.
And as I said, I feeded, and Butcher did horrible damage on your Jacks.
Yeah, he sliced up the Stormclad and the Lancer without even sort of thinking about it, really.
Yeah, and he still had 2 focus left.
Was it 5?
5 attacks. The initial one, and then I had to buy 4.
That's right, yeah.
3 for the Heavy Jack and 2 for the Light Jack.
Yeah.
Very satisfying. I never did that with him. What happens after that?
So you managed to... The Doom Reavers charged the other Stormclad.
Yeah, then the problem was that Butcher was now really exposed for assassination from Steve's side, so I really think the only chance to avoid it would have been to run the Juggernaut in the charge lane of Dynamo. The problem with that was that the Juggernaut was so badly damaged, he wouldn't have survived the free strikes from the Stormclad and the Stormlances, which was still standing there.
I still maintain it would have been worth trying at least.
Yeah, in hindsight, I think you're right. I should have just tried it.
Because the Stormclad that was sitting there was sitting in melee with the Doom Reavers, so he wasn't going anywhere.
Right.
So yeah, I think
Maybe to end this turn, I charged the Stormclad with the Doom Reavers, and I think if one of the Doom Reavers wouldn't have missed, he would have been able to kill the Stormclad, and then the last Doom Reaver, which would have dealt the killing blow, would also, due to Berserk, would have been able to kill the Stormlands.
Oh yeah.
And then the Juggernaut would have been free to move to block the charge lane, but sadly this didn't happen, so the Juggernaut moved up and killed the Stormclad and the Stormlands, but the charge lane was still open to Butcher, so...
Yeah, so what I'm looking at here is an assassinate or lose type situation. So I've lost the attrition game at this point. It's not really any way to recover from that. You've still got 3 heavies on the table. You've got your Devastators engage my final heavy. So all I've got really left on the table is Nemo and his battle group, his unit, and then Dynamo, and then my other Stormlance at the back there. So how do I assassinate Butcher? Well, Dynamo is the only one who can do it really. But he's in melee with your Devastator. Is it Devastator?
Yes.
Demolisher.
Demolisher is the one with guns. This is the Devastator.
I had to fill up Dynamo with focus, so you'd be able to charge the Butcher, but first of all get the Devastator out of the way. So I used the crazy slam spell that Nemo has to knock him back 5 inches, which then freed up Dynamo to make a charge. I also managed to get a shot with Nemo and Finch, both at Butcher, forcing you to use up one of your focus to negate the damage, and just chipping away a little bit more damage off Butcher. The Stormlance that was up behind him walked up to him and hit him with the horse and with his lance.
I think it did like 3 damage or so. Which
was like a nice amount of damage. But all in all, it came down to Dynamo and his charge. So I was trying to decide whether it was better to shoot with Dynamo and have a better chance of hitting due to re-rolls and aiming, or if it was better to charge in. And I decided that charging was the best thing to do because the damage was so high compared to shooting. But the problem was hitting Butcher, because he's a defense 14. It's very annoying. So I had to charge in and then boost to hit, and then buy an attack and then boost to hit again. But luckily, after all the little chipping away that I did, that was enough to bring... it was actually quite a lot more than it was needed on the second attack to bring Butcher down past what he needed.
With the first attack, you reduced him to 1 hitbox.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then the second attack was straight dice.
So all I needed to do was hit.
And you did hit. And the funny thing is, Butcher is tough.
Yeah.
He is tough. And it was game deciding, basically, at that point, if he's tough or not.
Yeah.
Because if he would have been tough, I would have killed Nemo with the Devastator in the next turn.
Or even Butcher.
Or anybody.
Yeah.
Right? But he wasn't tough.
Yeah. So it came down to a 2/3 chance of winning.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was that. So it was, yeah. So that was a nice, interesting game.
It was rather intense.
It was.
I felt.
It felt like a bit of an uphill with Nemo, even though his shooting's good. I just had a bad feet turn, and that was kind of the end of it, really. So that made me quite desperate to win.
That's right. And my feet turn was very devastating.
Yeah,
so to say.
Yeah. So they both got attrition feats, and in this case, the Khador one was the most effective. And then Khador, so much armor, so many boxes.
Yeah,
it just makes it very difficult. If you don't deal with them in whatever way that you decided to deal with them, if that doesn't work out, then you've got a big problem. But luckily, yeah, there was still this assassination angle. So overall, it was a very interesting game. There was a lot of thinking. It took us a long time to play.
That's true. I think we played like 4 hours or so.
Really? I did eat a lot of cake in between.
Oh, that's true.
And I went to the toilet about 6 times. So that was that, and
a game really worth playing.
Yeah, even though it came down to that last dice.
I don't regret losing at all. It was so much fun.
Yeah, you definitely won the attrition game.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, see you on the next one.
Yeah, see you.